Hey there, CoinGeek viewers, and welcome back to the Bitcoin Bridge. Now, we got some great news for you. Bitcoin is even more accessible than ever. Popular wallet service HandCash has teamed up with Canadian fintech firm Fabrique and payments provider Circle to allow their users to top up their accounts directly from the app in their own local national currency, which is kind of a big deal. Now, how did they make this all possible? Today, we've got none other than HandCash CEO Alex Agut here to break it all down for us. Oh, and before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the CoinGeek channel, and of course, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes of the Bitcoin Bridge. All right, Alex, welcome back to the Bitcoin Bridge, and welcome back to... I'm going to say this, one of my favorite people in BSV. You've always sort of kept me inspired right from the start. I think you have a very similar worldview, and I really like what you're doing. You've had the same attitude. You haven't deviated from the path, anything like that. So over to you. Welcome back. What's been happening?
Oh, thanks for having me back, John. We've been working really hard since the last time, adding the Fiat ramps into HandCash, which is something that was, we've been anticipating it for quite a few months, if not years, right now, because it's, we've been through many iterations on this system because of some regulatory issues that we've had in the past and some plans that we had to change for it to work the way we wanted. Some partners or deals that, that fell ultimately. So finally we could make it happen, and it is even better than the way we wanted to do it. So we're very pleased about this.
Right, yeah, so we should explain. HandCash has recently added Fiat ramps. Fiat ramps is one of those expressions that means nothing to anyone outside of Bitcoin. But,
yeah, true. Yeah, so basically we wanted an easy way for people to get BSV from inside HandCash, because one of the issues was that, okay, if HandCash is all about, making it easy for making Bitcoin for the rest of us, which is something that we've been saying for a long time. If you get rid of all the Bitcoin complexity from one side, but in order to get Bitcoins or BSV or whatever, you have to go to an external exchange and then face all that complexity. So we basically just moving the problem elsewhere and not really solving the problem to the fullest. So it was very important for us to get an in-app experience for actually being able to top up your wallet. And the way why we call it Fiat ramps is because basically we want to have some rails to legacy payment systems, just bank accounts, credit cards, PayPal, Mercado Pago, and all those payment systems around the world. We want to build a bridge so it's easier to people that never had anything to do with Bitcoin to give it a try for the first time.
And thanks for sticking with the bridge meme too. It's very popular on the show. What options are available? So I know so far you've added, I think, Spain, UK, Mexico, US, Australia, and Canada.
US, and recently we added Australia and Canada too to that list. And I think we are going to be in most of the countries we operate in. There are some that are a little bit, more picky. But the cool thing is that for the partnership we have with Circle and Fabrique, we are basically ready to go anywhere besides, the usual North Korea of the world. And so, we are very happy about the setup. It makes it very flexible for us. And also it's quite inexpensive for us because the payment acquirer is Circle and they already have all these licenses everywhere. It's very convenient for us offering this kind of system with them. It was a very good partnership for us, and I think it's the smart way to start. The only issue is that at the moment they only allow for USD denominated purchases. So that's why even if you are in the UK or whatever, you have to select a dollar amount of BSV that you want to purchase. Mm-hmm. That's something that we are going to change in the coming weeks or months. We already know the coming plans for Circle in this regard, and also there are other payment methods such as SEPA transfers, ACH, Apple Pay, Google Pay that we want to add in the near future. But right now it only works for Visa and MasterCard, debit and credit cards.
Okay. I mean, that's something that covers a lot of options. Now, you said debit and credit cards only. Is there any linking of bank accounts available?
Not yet, but it's something that we are very interested in because also it will help reduce the fees, which is something that, we at the time, most people are okay with the fees. Some people think that they are quite a bit high. I think they are a very good deal if you compare it to all the the alternatives, which is basically a fee for depositing money in another in another exchange, giving all your personal information, the KYC to another company you are not interested in, then the exchange fees. Also, then you have the withdrawal fees. You have to wait 30 or 40 minutes for the money to go back to HandCash, and that's maybe the cheapest option, but it takes a lot of time. And I think there's not a real difference in the BSV you get for the total amount of USD you pay for, which is something that it's interesting. And there are other services that use credit cards. I don't want to mention them because I don't want to piss anybody. But unfortunately, people are very pissed off with them because people are realizing when comparing to HandCash that they have a lot of hidden fees on inside the exchange rate they present to you. So maybe the fee is like for $100 is like $350 USD, but in HandCash you see that it's $5.99 I think. But it turns out that when you actually make the purchase for the same amount of BSV at the same time, for the same amount of USD at the same time, $100, it turns out that you get like $1 or $2 extra in HandCash, because we are not cheating with the exchange rate. So I don't know. It's not that the options out there are very desirable. So I think at least the UX is great. You get the money instantly because people don't have to wait to get started and start playing haste or whatever. And it's something that was very important for us, being able to make this system as instant as possible, mainly because we don't want to lose that, that hype when you onboard someone and they want to get started playing something. You cannot ask them to wait 30, 40 minutes or 1 hour or 2 days until the KYC is approved or something. And I think we nailed the kind of experience we wanted to show to offer, and it's just a matter of at scale and with different payment methods, and by having a lot of volume, we will be able to negotiate the fees down a little bit. And also when we add the fee, okay, so right now you can buy BSV. But also what we want is that if you want to, cash out to your bank account, you would be able to do it. Technically, we could already do it, but it's kind of, we want to engineer a system in order so we can match offers of people buying and people selling in a way that, there's no much fluctuations. And that would be great because then we are saving on acquisition fees too. And I think the fees will get lower over time. So if good thing is that people are not complaining because there's not too many options, especially in BSV right now.
Right. I'm actually surprised that the options are so limited too, because when I first got into Bitcoin, like almost 10 years ago now, I swear the first thing I did was to go to an exchange and tried to use my credit card. And I had no idea about exchanges, FX exchanges, anything like that. And I probably spent about 5 minutes clicking around the page, looking to see where the credit card option was. And I didn't comprehend at the time that it just wasn't possible. And it wasn't, until I'd done a lot of research. And yeah, that sounds funny now, but a lot of people, even these days, have the same experience. If they're brand new to Bitcoin, they're like, how do I buy this stuff? And like, even if you tell them it's a bank transfer, they're like, oh man, I'm not doing that.
Well, the reality is that there are a lot of companies out there that offer these kind of services. The issues is that they are basically they only do that kind of thing for users, but they are not tied to an ecosystem of apps that you can use right away. So it kind of you only have to go there if you already know why are you going to use this money for, and it's kind of difficult to find them. And the options for BSVs are way more limited than in basically any other big name cryptocurrency. And well, I think for one part that's unfortunate. For another part is what we asked for. So no, and I have to admit I've been one of the. I'm not gonna lie, I've been cheering for every time that an exchange was removing BSV, because I thought the plan, we all agreed that fuck crypto and let's be our own thing, right?
Yep.
And being your own thing means that you have to cut off from, exchanges. You have to get out of CoinMarketCap. You have to get out of all of these places. But seems like we've tried to be in the middle of the road. We didn't want to be there, and we didn't want to be here either. So I was pushing like, hey, if we want to go out of crypto completely, okay, let's go, let's do it, all in. Seems like I don't know where it failed. I don't know if it was something in the leadership level. I don't know if it's something more of a community thing. But the thing is that we got stuck in the middle of the road, and we have neither. So we're in a very interesting position here in BSV. But again, we asked for it.
That's true, yeah. I try not to give too much advice on, like what we should do and what we shouldn't do, because at the end of the day, it's just someone else makes the decision and we just have to deal with it anyway. So,
Yeah. But the thing is that at least, the market forces, when we started talking to Circle and Fabric, especially, it was great that both of their teams knew about HandCash already.
Right.
But it was especially curious from Circle, because you don't expect. We also know that we are very well known, at least HandCash and our ecosystem on what we're building by. We're being watched by pretty big companies in the space, and yeah, I think it's more of a political thing they have against BSV. Then they appreciate the tech.
When you say they
appreciate the tech. I don't know if it's anyway. That's a long conversation.
I'm up for a long conversation. You're not talking about Circle there, are you? You're just talking about companies in general, or do you mean Circle?
Oh, Circle. They at least when some people from their team, when we asked them for helping us setting up the Fiat ramps, they were delighted because they were fans of HandCash too.
Right.
But I'm talking about other companies that I will tell this in the future book about HandCash. But I don't know if I can talk about these potential deals that we have on the table, but at some point I will. But the thing is that there's a lot of people watching very closely at BSV, and I know a lot of investment funds that are very interested in putting a lot of money in BSV. And their mindset is that they appreciate the tech, and they think that all this crypto nonsense thing, at least that's what they say, will fade out eventually, and only the real utility will remain. And they want to be in certain positions when that happens. And I think they are looking into getting a little bit of stake in many companies in BSV right now.
Yeah, and HandCash is what we call the utility wallet. I think you probably more than anyone else, you've made the effort to include as many different services and make them discoverable as you can. That's one thing I've always liked about HandCash. So I don't really have to go on Twitter and find out, what the latest projects are, because I can just look through your app browser and check it all out.
Yeah, well, it was very important for us to make the distribution better. It was something that, the thing is that's still something that's not of the likes of companies like Apple, especially Apple. Only Apple, to be honest. Apple is asking us every time they release a new update to, hey, can you tweak this thing? Can you change these words a little bit? Can you remove the link to the app gallery? Can you? So I don't know if actually right now Tim Cook is running our company, or if I'm still in charge, or what's happening here. No, but it's interesting that we had we realized very quickly that it was important for us to solve distribution for these app developers, and you cannot rely only on Twitter, and anything that we can do to help them grow is something that we are willing to do.
Excellent. So apart from the Fiat ramps, what else is in the new HandCash 4.0? I think you're up to 4.0.2 already, right? It only came out last week.
Yeah. Except for Apple, which is again withholding our release. I don't know what kind of changes they want right now. But yeah, 4.0 is out, and it's basically we wanted to get back to our roots. And it came to a point where we internally were not very satisfied about HandCash in general, in the look and feel of the ecosystem. Everything felt a little bit rushed and bloated, and it was not us. And we decided to just go back to the basics, and that's basically the motto we have internally. So we were repeating back to basics every time there was a decision to make. We said back to basics. And we stripped down HandCash to its core and to its essence. So we rather have something that we are very proud of, that maybe it only does one or two things, but it does them very well, rather than trying to do too much, just like the chat. And we had this multi-send, and we had a lot of features, and we had to actually rethink, what's our role here, and what is what we are supposed to do, and what do we have to excel in. And again, with all this back to basics thing, we are also reviewing the all the metrics that tell us what are we doing well, what can be done better. And something that we are going to work in the coming weeks and months is the onboarding experience. We think it's awful. And not just the login system, but also learning and understanding what is this for. And we're not really tutoring effectively our users, or at least I think we can do a much better job. And also we are going to rebuild all the developer side after a couple of years of being live and gathering feedback from developers, and what are their real needs, and what do they want to do, and how can we serve them better. So we are overhauling the whole developer experience and we have a lot of great ideas, and it should be fairly simple. I mean, in terms of, we are not going to overcomplicate it, but we are going to stick again to the basics and what's our role here. And there are a few, and after that, there's a few areas we are, basically two. There's two areas where we want to focus next. And it's, I don't know if I should talk about them. My team might get upset.
Oh, okay. I'll give you a pass on that one and not press you too much. I don't want you getting into trouble or anything, but I am curious, like what kind of testing you do, do you have this room full of normies who've never used Bitcoin before, and then you just
No, I mean, feedback is a part of it, but feedback only tells you basically, what you're doing wrong, or at least notably wrong. Right. Things regarding perception. It's funny because when you add a credit card, you have to enter your billing address, right? And we wanted to make it very streamlined. So we said, your address, your zip code, and that's it, basically.
Really?
Funny thing is that people were very confused about how to enter the fields because they wanted more fields. No, but it's no, because they're used to entering also, the state, the city, and many of these things that, they were very confused about how to enter that. And, with the zip code and the country and the street, we don't need more data really, because we can figure out what's your state or city or whatever. But seems like people were having issues entering the information because they thought they should be entering more information. So that's something that we had to add some extra fields because, perception wise, people felt that it was complete if they could enter more things. Even though you're doing all the work in the background, but it's how the human brain works, and you have to adapt to it. It's not.
I don't understand the human mind.
Feedback is one part of that,
mm-hmm.
But ultimately there's something. We have analytics all throughout the app, so we know the funnels of conversion, which is basically from this screen to this screen, how many people tap to this button to advance to the next screen. Okay, so you always have some drop rates. So basically you start with 100%, then maybe in the welcome screen 90% press the next button, then 80% of those go to the next screen or whatever. So basically you can we have funnels in different parts of the app, especially the most critical ones, so we can see where do people get stuck, where people say like, fuck it, I don't want to deal with this shit, and just leave the app. And also we can know at which process of the onboarding they desisted, and then they uninstalled the app and never came back again. So and also, but at the same time, you see we can have metrics of, okay, how many transactions make people stick to HandCash? I mean, after receiving a few pennies on Twitter, for example, or just welcome to HandCash transactions, how does the retention rate improve if you have those kind of transactions in one account? And it depends on countries. Depends. So it's very complex, and ultimately, if you're looking for some certain pattern in the numbers, you will find it. But yeah, if you're realistic about what are let's say, if you're realistic about your expectations, or at least if you look at the numbers without having applying any expectations and just let them talk, then you can find interesting patterns or drop rates, and it tells you where you can do much better.
It's quite fascinating. What are people using HandCash for mainly? Are they using it just to like keep and hold? Are they big users of the connected apps, that kind of thing? Or
it's that's the key question, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very intriguing because we see that there are very different types of users. There are some users that have much bigger amounts than we would like them to have, and they never touch it. So you can assume that they are holders.
Right.
Then you have people who never have a really big balance, but they're always using the apps, and it's basically like they have $2, $5, $3, whatever, and the money goes in, goes out, comes back, and they make the money again in other apps, and it's basically like they have a buffer of money.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing is that as you can do so many things with so little money, those kind of people don't tend to be topping up as much. And then there's people who use other kind of apps, like Peer Game or TTXP, that they do top up because the amounts they use for the apps are much bigger. So I think the interesting thing about this is that we are not all about nano payments or micro payments. I think it's a part of it. Maybe it's what makes us special or separate from the rest. But the reality is that I think what people value the most is the ability of having this kind of wallet they can connect to anything. And instead of having to deposit their money into many services and be spread, in a betting app, in a casino, in a gaming platform, their money is always accessible at all times by all of the apps they are connected to. And but I think you see a mixed bag of some people that just use it as, like they use Cash App, others use it for savings, and others just are full into the games and the apps. So, and also, the people that use the Connect apps, you see these two camps of people that, are only in apps that are being used with very small amounts, and others that, like spend 10, 20, 50, 100, $200 per every time they make a payment. So I think it's very segmented.
Yeah, I think I'm one of those, like a few cents here and there at a time, and keep that buffer, as you said. That's one of the things I like about BSV and the BSV wallets is that you can use your wallet credentials to log into the service. Because I can't tell you how many different Bitcoin services I've tried over the years, and like every one of them you had to create a whole new account, send Bitcoin to that wallet, and then I don't know, for all I know, I probably got a whole bunch
and store a new set of 12 words for every service.
You don't want to see my password saver, man. It's got so many like seed phrases in it. And don't bother hacking me, because there's nothing in them. You'll be like 2 cents each time. And so how close are wallets like HandCash to being the dreaded digital ID?
Oh, I don't know if we should be that. I think
I say dreaded sort of half jokingly.
I think it's cool to be a tool that it's available if you want to use it. Mm-hmm. I think once you start having a huge dependency on these kind of systems, it's overall bad for the human species, especially when all things are digital and can be controlled, and and everything's traceable. I think that's you're starting to walk into dangerous territory. But I think HandCash becoming one of your, like you have your login with Google or Facebook or whatever. I think it certainly has the potential to do that. But for that, the reality is that even though we've tried with using raw BSV and Duro, and I don't know if we can make it without going full stable coins, and it's a bigger challenge than people really think. Mm-hmm. It's not trivial, especially on a UTXO based model such as Bitcoin, or at least with the kind of token systems we have right now. It's kind of a challenge. I mean, it's not a challenge to send $5 worth of BSV to the other side of the world once, and that's done. That already works. The problem is doing things like haste with stable coins. That's quite of a challenge.
Could you elaborate on that a bit? What is the challenge? Just for people who
the challenge don't know. The challenge is the managing all of UTXOs, and also at least the STAS token protocol, which is the closest thing we have for having something workable with that. It has a lot of limitations in terms of UTXO management. It looks like it's the closest thing to UTXO to using raw BSV in terms of UTXO management. But the thing is that I think you can only have like 4 inputs at a time, or 3 inputs or something like that, and the transactions are super heavy because basically you have all the script and all the program for the Bitcoin network to process inside the same transaction. So fees are way higher. So I think it's for that to work. It's we need a huge effort from miners to understand the model of using these kind of transactions and to agree of lowering the fees and do some kind of special deals, and also consolidation and all this stuff. It's a challenge. I think we are in a very advantageous. How do you say it in English?
Advantageous.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. I think we are in a particularly advantageous situation in HandCash because we already have cloud signing. We don't have the 12 words and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are things that even if you want to go full stablecoin, if you have that burden still from crypto, you still have the same issues being a crypto company.
Yeah.
So I think we have that advantage that we can manage UTXOs while you're sleeping, so it can improve things. But again, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and we want to make sure that nano payments and micro payments are still viable. And I don't really know if that's something that we'll see. We're looking into it. But again, I think BSV has reached a ceiling in terms of adoption as in the current model. I think the current model of how people are handling BSV has reached a ceiling. I don't really think we can grow from here. I hope we can, but I really doubt it. So I think there are other alternative models where we can actually, make this technology usable for anybody. And I think stable coins are, even though it's something that we've been trying to avoid for quite a bit because it's not trivial. It has a lot of issues. I don't think we have any other choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. There are some things that, like, whether you're philosophically in agreement or opposed to them, you kind of have to go along with it because it's just what's expected. Oh,
it's not
to a certain extent.
It's not philosophical. It's not something philosophical. It's something pragmatic. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard problem to solve. And the thing is that if you start adding, this is something that I've been arguing with people since the beginning, since we started with Bitcoin. I really hated the notion that people were comparing Visa transactions to raw Bitcoin transactions.
Yeah, it's a very different thing.
It's totally different. I mean, you cannot compare the base layer transaction that you would do it yourself if you built, your own wallet infrastructure yourself. You cannot compare that to using the network of Visa, with all the employees, the marketing, the sales force, what's the name of that? The revenue shares and all the stuff that, it's a company. You cannot compare raw technology to a company that already has built something that has a lot of layers to actually build something that's commercially viable. Because if you start adding insurance, if you start adding cost of fraud in the fees, those things add up the price. And if you overcomplicate the base layer of how Bitcoin works in order to offer the same things, you might be surprised that unless miners want to do if they don't want to go for the long run, or they don't understand the play of doing some sacrifices now in order to make more money in the future, you might be surprised that the fees are the same as Visa at some point. If you start adding things to actually match what Visa offers, it's not trivial to make it much cheaper than Visa, believe me. And right now we've been able to do it because we are basically a UI that's allowing you to use the raw technology. the base layer, let's say. But every time you want to add more and more and more layers, all those layers want to make money too.
Of course.
And so if you want to have something that actually looks and feels like Visa, but it's cheaper, it's not as trivial as people think. It's not trivial. Yeah.
No, it was never going to be. I think that's just one of those
no. But it's doable.
Fantasy
The thing is that it's doable.
Bitcoin.
It's doable. We should be optimistic. It's doable, and I think we're very close to having something that can have something comparable to Visa in terms of appeal, but being more way cheaper and being able to integrate it and embed it into any kind of app or game. And it's something that's a unique value proposition, and it's something very cool. We've been looking at what others are doing in other networks. There's nothing close to what we are doing. HandCash, I mean, not the BSV as a whole, but I'm talking about HandCash. We haven't seen anything that can really be compared, or we're building something that's very valuable and very cool. And it's just a matter of making it even more accessible for everybody. And I think, we are studying the stablecoin thing. We've always been studying the stablecoin thing. It's not something new. That's why we are kind of skeptic with it. But again, we'll see. I don't know if we'll be able to escape it.
Yeah, I've always liked HandCash's approach compared to all the others. If you look at every other wallet, they have some great features, nice interface, but they all basically do the same thing. I think HandCash was the one that deviated from that norm very early on. It's been around for a long time now, even since before BSV. So, yeah, I've always admired that approach too, and I think you do a pretty good job of it. You don't really follow the pack there. Others, they're okay, but they do the same things.
Well, I think we've just been very brave, or I don't know if the brave is the right word, but
stunning and brave.
We've always had this mission of saying let's do something that nobody else is doing.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to settle for doing something that just makes money. We are here we know that we can build something that's absolutely great with this technology, and it would be a shame if we settled for something mediocre just so we can make money quicker.
All right, I gotta ask.
I think that's why we wanted to. Wait on NFTs and stuff and see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the main difference is you don't have the NFT marketplace that literally every other wallet is trying to do at the moment.
We wanted to avoid the hype phase.
Right.
Maybe you can make a lot of
not many
you
people
can make
say that.
more money on that, but I think it also deviates from what we are, and I think it's important that we really understand if we end up offering NFTs or an NFT marketplace or whatever, that it's something that's valuable to developers in the long term, not just for this hype cycle, which might last 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, I don't know. But also I think we have to make sure that we are not a big company. We cannot afford to be rebuilding everything we do, or all the UIs or the SDK, every 3 months or every 6 months. So we, if there's something valuable with NFTs, and I think we are already seeing that there are cool things like these digital Durodogs, these digital pets. I think it's pretty cool that the same NFT that you're using in one game, you can be using it in another game. And I think that's something very interesting in a way that, you are the owner of that particular asset. And imagine that you are using the same Durodog in different competitions, and the Durodog is earning a lot of medals or prizes or awards or something. And that's stored in the Durodog NFT. So I think it makes it, more valuable even in a secondary market, or which again, it's something that I think the gaming industry is moving towards that. I think you cannot decouple the gaming industry from now on from I don't know if from speculation, but at least from money. I think money and gaming are something that we're meant to be, something that working together.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of money to be made, but also I think it's a great opportunity for creating all new kinds of experiences with this. I think NFTs are great for doing exactly that, because you can have a unique item and you can verify it on the blockchain that you are the only one that has this item that has won all these virtual championships and stuff. And yeah. I think that's pretty cool.
I mean, I'm kind of a curmudgeon when it comes to NFTs. I'm always the one who doesn't really want anything to do with them, but I got no problem with NFTs that actually do something, and you can actually increase the value yourself of the NFT without actually just buying it and sitting on it for a couple of years.
Well, at least you have to give credit to people like the Threads guys that they've made NFTs very cool, and that's something appealing for a lot of people. No, I mean they've done some campaigns, and they were promoting this technology, and I think if you are bringing people to this ecosystem, it's something that we all of us should be welcoming. And although I'm not a huge fan of speculation only NFTs, obviously. Something that at least is voluntary. If you want to give it a shot and spend $30 or $5,000 on a picture of a monkey or whatever, I don't know, just do it. I mean, I'm not going to be the one stopping you from doing it. I think I'd much rather buy silver coins or something like that, but I don't know. To each its own.
Well, I mean, one question I would like to ask is, are you making money? Not you personally, but HandCash, the company.
Well, we're not break even yet, but we already have a few income sources, and yeah, every month we are making a little bit more than previous month, and we're really glad about this. And I think at scale, I think it's just a matter of scale. I think the numbers make sense if we grow to a decent scale in the coming months. So although all of this is very research and development, to be honest, and that's why we wanted to have investors in the first place, because we knew that it would take quite a bit to make this technology into something that's appealing for the common man. And it's taken a while. We are learning, every single day we learn something else. And I think the accumulated knowledge that we have, not just on BSV or Bitcoin, but the whole ecosystem and payments and the SDK, whatever. Yeah. I think this is something that's very valuable. The whole knowledge that our company holds right now, and I think it's just a matter of finding our eBay moment. Just like PayPal. It's fun because people ask us like, "Hey, but I want to integrate your infrastructure in my website, so people don't have to sign up for HandCash and they can have their money into my company." They don't realize that they already, just build your own database and accept Visa or credit card or whatever, and do your own database for handling payments. Because I think the cool thing about this is that you are connected to a network of other apps. So what the money that people are making in one other app is already available in yours, and vice versa. And I think there were some companies that were failing to see that, but I think the main problem was that we are still not PayPal big. So getting a HandCash account is like, oh, but you have to get a HandCash account, and we were replying like, yeah, the same way that you have to get a credit card or you have to get a PayPal account, and you don't complain for them. Why do you complain for HandCash? And the reason is because we are still small. But I think our goal, we're very ambitious, and our goal is to be one of those things that you have to be on the internet and pay for stuff in games and apps. And I think that's what we are aiming to be, one of those default payment methods.
And the way things are going, I think. I've had less confidence in over the past few months that Visa and MasterCard and those kind of companies are going to survive, because the way they've been acting lately, it seems they're overcomplicating and politicizing, and they're just making it crazy. Bitcoin seems simple compared to all of those things now.
It is. Now that we actually have integrated fiat payments into our systems, we were wishing it would be great if people could just pay with BSV instead of Visa or whatever. But the thing is that then they would need the fiat ramps. So we are basically adding this layer of legacy stuff, and it's incredibly unreliable, incredibly prone to fraud, incredibly slow.
I'm happy to throw all this crap back at them.
We still don't understand. Well, we understand because people are used to having this legacy stuff, and it's very slow to move to another but you really have to screw it with BTC in 2014, 2015 to not being able to replace this crap with BTC in 2014, 2015. You really have to screw it big. And it has to be intentional. I mean, it's so obviously much better, all this technology, than the fiat systems. It's amazing how complicated and expensive they are, and unreliable and fraud prone, and it's incredible.
Becoming less reliable by the minute almost in this day and age.
Yeah, and not even taking into account all the political stuff, which is on a league of its own.
Alex, when we started tonight, I really wanted to go into all of that political stuff and engage you on that as well, but somehow we actually managed to talk about HandCash for quite a long time. I think we went way over time talking about that, so I'm gonna have to postpone the politics stuff for another time. But unfortunately, because I really do want to do it, but we'll manage somehow. All right then. Well, yeah. Thanks a lot for doing that. Thanks a lot for coming on the show. Good luck with HandCash 4.0 whatever's coming out next. And I really hope. Actually, I don't really care about the fiat ramps here because I don't use it. But now that I come to think about it, this is for normies, not me. All right.
You're an OG.
Too much one. All right. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, MetaNet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today, but what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Bitcoin 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Bitcoin Bridge. If you're interested in seeing more from the show, click here, and to see other great CoinGeek content, click here. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any future shows on the CoinGeek channel.